Hey everybody, today I wanted to make a quick video for you about how the narcissist is the ultimate junkie. There is actually a link between some certain narcissists and substance abuse. That's not been my experience. My experience is that they do have addictions, addictive behavior, but usually not substance abuse has not been my experience, at least not to the extent that they would have it be something where you could get advantage of them. But that's not to say that they're not addicts. They can, because they are the ultimate junkies. To them, their drug is narcissistic supply. It's really helpful to us if we can think of narcissistic supply just as exactly like a drug, and that's how they are about it. Because that might be more familiar to you if you have any experience with addiction yourself or with anyone that you know. You know how it can alter a person's behavior. And really, truly, even good people can resemble narcissists in active addiction. That's why actually the recovery program for a person who grew up in a household with addicted parents or alcoholic parents is perfectly helpful for children who grew up, or adult children who grew up in homes with a person who was had a narcissistic personality disorder, because the manifestation is very much the same. They are on a constant drive for their drug, which is supply, comes first above all else, above everything else, and they will do anything possible to get their next fix. They will do all kinds of immoral, illegal things. And in the case of the true drug addict, it can be completely counter to all their morals and the things that they would normally be like when they're not in active addiction. A narcissist has less cognitive dissonance than that, because which makes them even worse junkies, because they have far less guilt or remorse or conscience that they're dealing with, that they're grappling with. They don't have empathy. Drug addicts are oftentimes quite empathic people and are some of the most sensitive people that there are, and they're using drugs to take off some of the edges of that sensitivity. And so while using drugs, they can appear to be less sensitive, and they'll be driven to do things to get the drugs. But at their core, they're not this kind of person. Whereas with a narcissist, they are. With a narcissist, there's nothing holding them back. There's nothing to make them not do whatever they want to do. They have such a strong sense of entitlement, which makes them unique also. And so they're pathological liars. They will have no problem at all just completely flipping the script and doing whatever they have to do to justify whatever it is they want to do. Endless examples when it comes to my ex-husband and the things that he did, that he could just completely justify, all the while pointing fingers at me and trying to create chaos and talk about how I was the one with a substance abuse problem. Well, he is in fact drunk driving with my kids in the car, forging my signature on things, breaking the law left and right, lying about me in court, just doing everything in the world, trying to take my kids from me and then leaving them with people, not even wanting to be with them, not wanting to take care of them. Absolutely the worst role model. But, and he was willing to do anything for narcissistic supply. And I was his primary target. And then after me, the person that he targeted was my oldest son, Noah. And the person that he ended up married to, his second wife, was just so much exactly like him. So what you have when you have a narcissist is you have someone who is a full-blown junkie with no desire to get clean. And so his drug is anything that makes him feel superior and powerful. It can be a lot of admiration and adoration and attention and accolades. It can also be through your suffering, where he's able to prove his own power and prowess and importance by how much you're suffering, and can be very sadistic, can just get tons and tons of supply out of just taking you down. Just because you're there, because you trust them, because you're relying on them, and you're the one that is in this, tangled up in this web with them, they will decide it's time to discard you. And even your only crime being that you loved and trusted them, you will become the enemy. And the reason that you're become the enemy is because they will have decided to discard you because you see them for who they are, and so they're unable to keep up their their shtick any longer. For most of us, we didn't know we were stumbling across something we weren't supposed to. We were just trying to get to know them, and in healthy couples, that's called intimacy. Where we share things that are secret, private parts of ourselves, and we get to know one another. Well, with the narcissist, we will discover one day that the mask has slipped, and we've seen behind the mask. Once they're done needing you for narcissistic supply, and it's time for you to go, they really have to just destroy you. There's no amicable breakup here. This is, once they're done with you, they have to destroy you, because they don't want you to be able to tell anyone what you know about what you saw behind the mask. That's for sure. Risking exposure is the thing that they're most afraid of. So they do not want to be exposed. And if you've seen behind the mask, they're assuming a lot. They're assuming that, you'll even know what it is you saw or what that means, or that, there was a lot of active, aggressive attacking of me when I was still a long ways from being any harm to them. I may have seen behind the mask, but I had no idea what I'd seen. I had no idea what it meant. I was even told by 2 therapists. The one gave me the diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. Then he took me to another therapist, because of course we couldn't keep going back to the first one, and she told me, when she caught me aside, got me to the side by myself and said, you need to get out of this relationship and close the door and don't look back. And neither one of these did I listen to. I didn't listen to either one of them. I thought to myself, oh, they don't know him. He's just not coming off good, and they don't know him like I do. But they will take you down because they want to ruin your credibility, because they just want to, because you're the enemy, because there's no neutral place to be. You're either you're either getting love bombed by them, and you're the person who's the focus of their attention, or you are the enemy. And this will be to the greater extent depending on how serious your relationship was. So, in my case, it was very serious. We were married for 10 years. We had a business and 2 kids and property and all of that together. And so he had to be very, very serious in how he was going to do it. Get out of the relationship, but he wanted to keep everything. He wanted to keep all of our assets, everything for himself. And so that's exactly what his goal was, and that's what he did. But he is absolutely addicted to it. He cannot be wrong. He cannot ever apologize. He can't be wrong. And he has no fairness. You are entitled to nothing in his eyes. And so his sense of entitlement is just outrageous. Really, really incredible, and really, really cruel what he will do. And this isn't just it's he, she, that, and I'm talking about romantic behavior, but this can be a parent, it can be a friend, it can be, as soon as any narcissist in any situation decides that they are going to discard a person, then this is what they'll do. The typical, when we talk about, the most common is the romantic relationship, and the most common is for it to be the male narcissist. However, I think it's closer to 50-50 than the statistics say. But I'm here to say that I've had the whole discard go on with my own parent, with my brother, with basically every close relationship that I had. I'll catalyst this one thing that was instigated by my ex-husband. But so they, all the while, they'll be, with all their high and mighty, there'll be this fake morality and all this stuff, when in essence they really have no sense of right or wrong. They have no sense of compassion, empathy, love. They have no respect for the law. They have no respect for the, basic rules of human decency. They're complete and total gluttons. And sense of entitlement is outrageous. They're hugely spoiled. They're like spoiled little kids. They're very emotionally immature, so they won't have a generous or empathy is a product of emotional maturity. It's part of what we go through in the growing up process. And so they don't have that, because they're emotionally immature and stuck somewhere before that process takes place. They won't have any balance, any sense of remorse, or that they owe you any apologies. They absolutely care 100% about being perceived as right, They want to be perceived as right. And that matters to them more than just about anything. And they are completely addicted, which means that they will keep repeating the same behaviors even as their life is falling apart all around them. Their relationships are getting ruined, their family's getting ruined. They could have all kinds of destruction all around them. Most likely the person that's around them, the people around them, are going to be feeling all this destruction, but they could too be feeling it as well. And they will have no ability to put the brakes on, no ability to self-reflect, no ability to change directions, take an honest look at themselves and change their behavior. Certainly no ability to apologize and admit to doing anything wrong. And so they are addicts hungrily pursuing this drug that is destroying their lives, and they have no ability even to see that. Which is the difference between them and junkies. Junkies will look at their lives and be like, "Oh my God, my life is in shambles." They really don't even seem to do that. They just keep plowing along, and they tend to, just like with addicts, they tend to attract codependent, enabling people into relationships with them, and so that's how they can keep it going, perpetuate their behavior. And so they will hook a person in like that and then use them until they decide that they don't need them for one reason or another. They don't need them anymore. And usually that's because they found somebody else. And then they will just brutally discard them. Yeah, so Narcissistic Supply is their drug, and they will do anything to get it. And I mean anything.